All right, may I call the meeting to order then?
Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you everybody for attending. My name is Marguerite Carnell. I'm serving as the chair of the Historic District Commission meeting. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. If you are not speaking, please stay muted. To members of the public, there will be a chance for you to speak, but please wait until the commission opens the public hearing portion of the meeting for the project that you are interested in. So for each application, I will read the application and ask the applicant to present their project. Then I will invite members of the public to speak. Then I will close the public hearing so that the commissioners can discuss and possibly vote on the project. And I'll make sure to ask each commissioner if they have questions, concerns, or comments. So I'll begin now with a roll call. Commissioners, please identify yourselves. I'm Marguerite Carnell.
I'm Diane Mead.
Julie Carmelik.
Heather Gett.
Peter Adamovich.
Terrific. Okay, so we have a quorum plus one, and I would like to appoint Peter as a voting member of the commission this evening. All right, so we will begin with application 20-04 for Greg and Tia Madison, owner applicant, for a certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a fence, mailbox, shed, exterior lighting, and change of driveway material for the property located at 130 East Wyotok Street. So would the applicant like to speak?
We submitted all the materials in June, so if you want to screen share and do that, there's nothing really special that we want to bring up.
I'd like to begin by asking you a couple of questions then. I'll start with the fence, which is shown on the site plan highlighted in yellow. Wondering if you can let us know where the gates will be for the fence and what the style of those gates would be.
I wish we should have submitted that. I haven't really located the gates. I mean, we can put them, I would imagine there would be one facing the street. That's something that I would probably have to get to you guys. I can, wish I had that.
And then the other one would be behind the garage, behind the house.
Yeah. I mean, the gates could be in the same wood, same design. You know, we could do the same thing. So one would be the both sides, the south side and the north side. So, or actually, I'm sorry, the street side, which is not the south side. The street
west side.
And then the probably the north side, which you wouldn't even see because it's behind the house.
Okay. So you wouldn't see any difference in the design. There wouldn't be a cross brace for reinforcement.
There may have to be a cross piece of wood just for reinforcements because it's swinging on a hinge.
Right.
You know.
Okay, and are you anticipating a double gate or a single gate at the front on the west side?
On the front, probably just a single gate.
Okay.
You know, if we were to do a double gate, it would be behind the house on the north side, where you wouldn't even see it.
Okay.
But we'll do a single gate on the front.
Thanks, Mike. My next question is about the shed, 12 by 16 shed that's shown in blue on the plan up on the screen. Will that shed have any windows on the west side, which is the side that faces the street?
No.
Okay, so that would be a blank wall then. Okay. Wondering if you had given any consideration to moving the shed further back on the lot so that it is less visible or behind the house?
Yeah, we had really, I mean, without being there, that's about as far back on the south side of the property because we're at the base of the hill there.
Right. Okay.
So if you go any further east or east,
There's
Yeah.
east.
There's also a swale.
Yeah, there's
right
there's also a swale right behind it.
Okay. Okay. Any consideration to moving it to the north side along your new proposed fence line so that it is not visible from the street but hidden behind the house?
It would be behind the. It would either be on the hill or it would be, directly, behind the house. There's really not a spot for it. We have our HVAC, our AC is going out there. There's really not a spot for it.
Okay.
Unless
Just wanted
the bedroom windows, but.
Okay, not asking you to do that. I just wanted to clarify, and understand why it's in the location that it is. So, thank you for answering those questions. And then about the proposed change of material for the driveway, the new tar and chip driveway. The photograph that you sent, does that represent accurately the color of the chips, the aggregate that you would use?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Let's see. You gonna try to pull it up? Let's see. Is that you? That's it. Okay. Last year, you guys approved asphalt. Just after looking at some of the other properties on the street, I just think that's more fitting to the road. And it would be, that color. Do we have another picture? Did we submit another picture? No.
Okay. Great. All right. Thanks for clarifying. Other commissioners, questions, comments?
I got a question about the pavement and the chips. Is it a pervious pavement or, does it allow water to seep through it?
It's, water does not seep through it. They call it a tar chip, or they basically roll some kind of membrane or glue in the stone go on it. So you'll have some loose stone on the top, but
Right.
water does not drain through.
Okay. No, it just suspiciously looked like it was like a pervious.
Yeah, I mean, if you look carefully, there's other properties on the street that have it done.
Mm-hmm.
Just not too far from that real historic place. You know what number? Not too far from us. It's the
next to Heather Lane.
Yeah, not too far from Heather Lane. It's the last historic home on the other side of the street. I believe they have one.
Okay, thank you.
I think he's referring to Deb Bibbins' house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 115 East Wyotok. Do we have other questions from commissioners? Okay, hearing none. And we have, commissioners, do we have all the information that we need in order to take a vote on this evening?
Just a question. Are we also addressing on the application it talked about the mailbox and lighting?
Yes, thank you very much. Good point, Diane. Yes. I did not have any questions or comments myself on the mailbox or on the lighting. Does anybody else?
No, just, I guess my question is, where is the lighting going?
There's a elevation drawing in the packet with yellow highlights where they're going to be going. Maybe Mike, if that's easy for you to pull up, it's in the.
I'm scrolling. No, you know what? I got it. See, I've got it. I found it. Okay. Answers my question.
Okay. And we have all the information we need on the mailbox, also the design of it and so forth. Okay. All right. So I'll just ask once again, commissioners, I can't see you all on my screen here. So please speak up if you have any additional questions before we close the public hearing or close the public hearing. No, we're good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to close the public hearing. And I'm going to make a motion to approve this application for the installation of a fence, mailbox, shed, exterior lighting, and the change of driveway material as proposed, with the stipulation that the fence gate match the overall design of the fence itself. I think that's all we need for stipulations. So that's my motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, and I'm going to call on the commissioners. Julie?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Heather?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And for myself, I also. So the motion passes unanimously. So to the applicants, again, apologies for the delays, but best of luck moving forward.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
In half an hour. I'm just running up to see something.
Okay, so we'll move along to the next application. This one is for Andrew and Heidi Golden, owner applicant, for a certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a ductless mini split heat pump system for the property located at 57 East Wyotok Street. And again, to the applicant, apologies for the delay. Would you like to make comments about your application before we begin to consider it?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I do have some prepared remarks. First, by way of introduction, I'm Andrew Golden. For background, I'm an attorney with a specialized focus on employment law. My wife, Heidi, is an ecologist who focuses on freshwater ecosystems and more generally how those systems are being impacted by climate change. Regrettably, Heidi's on a field assignment today and cannot make today's special meeting, but hopefully the committee will be able to meet her at a future date. In any event, Heidi and I were delighted after living on a tiny quarter-acre property in West Hartford for the last 23 years to join this beautiful and historic community when we purchased and moved our family into 57 East Wyotok in early June of this year. So on the project, our house currently has no air conditioning system other than 5 very inefficient individual window boxes, none of which can fit in the old push-out style windows in our master bedroom. It's been a very sweaty summer, needless to say. And additionally, the house is heated by baseboard radiators that run on oil. So we're petitioning to install a 45,000 BTU mini split ductless heat pump system that will be far more efficiently cool and heat the house. The system will include 4 indoor ductless evaporator units throughout the house, including one in our master bedroom, and a single Fujitsu mini split condenser outside of the home that will power the entire system. And that will be located on the north side of the home towards the northwest corner. The Energy Star efficient system will obviate any need for any window AC units, and on all but the coldest nights for any use of oil-based heat. We expect, as the committee is probably well aware, mini split condensers run much more efficiently and quieter than traditional air conditioner units. In fact, they're very hard to hear even when you're standing right next to them, even when they're running on high. The approximate dimensions of this particular, the outdoor condenser, are 38¼ inches in length, 30 by 39½ inches in height, by 14½ inches in depth. I mentioned it'll be on the north side of the house, towards the northeast corner, and will be primarily blocked from view from the street by a small shrub on the northeast corner of the house, and by the many large trees on the north side of the property, and the stone wall that parallels the street. And I did include, hopefully you received them, 2 pictures from that angle, one on the inside of the trees where you can see the shrub, and one from the street where you can see the large trees that are blocking it. And you probably all know the stone wall there. In addition to that condenser, there will be 2 sets of coolant and drain lines that will run vertically along that north side of the house to connect the outdoor condenser to the indoor evaporators. One will run straight up from the unit, and the other will run straight up into our master bedroom on that same north side of the house, but more down the west side. They'll be connected with an indoor line along the basement, so you won't have a horizontal line running on the exterior of the house. And if you look at, I included what I called an artist pick. My wife, she's pretty technically savvy. She just took a picture of the north side of the house and sort of photoshopped on a picture of the unit and an approximation of those 2 vertical pipes. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm sorry, the vertical lines will be fully encased in white slim duct, and they closely match the white exterior color of the house, and it's intended to look very much like vertical drain pipes. The same size, same color, and they're perfectly vertical, so that's what they look like. In fact, that picture was from, at Rosedale's, they have one of the same unit outside one of the houses there, so I took a picture of that, and that's how she grabbed it and photoshopped it and set it the size on that picture. I've also included a spec sheet from Fujitsu to provide any further details on the unit and the system. And of course, happy to try to do my best to answer any questions the committee might have.
Thank you, and welcome to the district.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited.
One question I wanted to ask is, what color is the condensing unit?
The condensing unit is, I can't say it's white. It's like an off-white, sort of a cream color. There's no options to.
Okay.
I mean, I'm glad it's not dark, but if I could get it white, I would, but they don't offer it in anything other than that off-white color.
Okay. I just want to note for the record that because the Commission does not regulate vegetation, landscaping in any way, we cannot consider shrubbery as a screen, even though we all know it's there. We kind of have to pretend that it is not there for the purposes of the application. Commissioners, questions and comments, please.
My only comment is that I'm seeing more and more of these systems put into historic homes as an alternative to large HVAC systems, which can be very disruptive to historic building fabric. So, so I think I fully support the use of this, and I think it seems to be located in a fairly discrete area. So, the condenser unit and the piping. So, I've got no comments.
Okay.
I have to agree. We actually have 2 of these, and they are much less obtrusive than a big HVAC system. So, yeah, no, I understand.
Heather or Peter, do you have any questions or comments for the applicant?
I think this is a welcome change. If you look at all the through-wall units that are in there now, and this is replacing that, it'll certainly make the house look a lot more aesthetic.
I would also agree with that. I think it's actually an improvement.
Very good. All right. Having heard from all of us, I'm going to make a motion to, I'm going to close the public hearing now and make a motion to approve the installation of this ductless mini split system as described in the application and all of the accompanying information.
Second.
All in favor, and again, I'll call names. Julie.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
Heather.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
All right, so the motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project. Again, sorry for the delays.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to being done.
I'm sure.
Just when the cool weather hits.
That's right.
You're never done with an historic house, let me tell you.
I'm sure there'll be another chance. Do I stay on, or do I
You are free to go.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
You too. All right. Well, the last application that we have before us this evening, we have William T. Case, Esquire, applicant, on behalf of Connor J. Foley, owner, for a certificate of appropriateness for modifications to a proposed resident, including changes to the garage and front door color, windows, porch decking, front and side gables, installation of a seamed metal roof over the front porch, and foundation height at the property located at 10 East Wyotok Street. And once again, to the applicants, we do apologize for the delay, but glad we can be here this evening to discuss your project. So we have the application in front of us and lots of detailed information. Thank you so much for including that. Would you like to walk us through this or provide an overview before we begin to discuss?
Attorney William Case, how's everybody? I'm here with the builder, Mike O'Neill. Is he still here?
Yes, Mr. Case, I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Mark. Yep, and Tara and Connor Foley, and also the excavator. I see Jeremy is on the line, and also Ted Brown, who's providing a lot of the materials and can answer any specific questions that you might have about anything that's before you. You've seen this application before. Most of the items are mostly color changes. The windows from a 6 over to a 2 over, and then the last item we could actually eliminate as a request, because once we got out there and the grades got shot, we realized that we were already within the 168 benchmark, the foot benchmark that the commission had established in the last approval. So that item doesn't even actually need to be in this conversation. So it was helpful to actually go out there and shoot the grades so that we could understand where the house was going to be seated. And as far as going through it, I think maybe the most efficient is to see if there's any questions from the commission as it relates to these things, because I think they're fairly straightforward, and then we could answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you very much for those comments. All right, so we're considering 6 changes. And I'll review them myself and then open it up to the commissioners to discuss also and ask questions. So one at a time. The garage door color as approved, changing from English oak to mahogany. That's straightforward. The front door, the front double door as approved, changing from black to mahogany, all other features to remain the same. I just wanted to note that it appears in the packet of information that the design of the door is different. So I just wanted to clarify that change. Was that intended? Can't quite tell.
So this is Ted Brown speaking. And
Hello?
The original door had a transom over the top. And it was 8-foot high opening. And the other doors in the back of the house, which aren't under discussion, were also 8 foot tall. So we did eliminate the transom over the top. So they're just going to be a straight 8 foot tall door. If that's what you're referring to as a change to the design.
Okay, I can't quite put my fingers on the original drawing, but I'll go back and look. I'm going to skip item number 3 for a moment and move on to some of the simpler items, and we'll get back to the porch roof. The windows to be manufactured by Plygem style Mira 2/2 aluminum clad wood color black with exterior screens. Mike, I just wanted to know, it appears, and please confirm if this is the same window manufacturer and style Mira as the December 2019 application. It appears when I went back and looked at the minutes that window was approved with a simulated divided light grille profile. And I just wanted to confirm what the 2/1 grille profile would be. When I went and looked at the Mira product on the website, it looked like the simulated divided light, or SDL, was available in a 7/8 or a 1 1/4 profile. So I just wondered if you might be able to clarify that for us.
So I'll comment, this is Ted Brown again. It is the same window manufacturer. It is SDL. It's just the grill pattern has changed.
Right.
So it's a single vertical grill on the top sash and a single vertical grill on the bottom sash, giving you 2 lights on top and 2 lights on the bottom.
Okay. And are you able to tell us what width that bar will be?
7/8.
7/8. Thank you for that clarification. The porch decking, moving on to number 5, the porch decking, changing from Brazilian walnut to Murado. No questions there from me. Item number 6, changing the material or the appearance pattern of within the front and side gables. Changing from wood shingles to a style of board and batten. And I wondered if you could comment on why you're making that change.
That's a style to complete the vernacular. They're looking to do a traditional kind of a farmhouse, and it is a style determination, a look that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. You know, board and batten siding is typically seen on vernacular outbuildings, such as the picture that you included of 85 East Wyotok Street. I believe that's a garage or a barn.
Yeah, this is just a small detail within the overall structure to break up,
of course,
design elements. And it's a farmhouse. It has some barn elements. The house, in the design, so it is in keeping, I think, with the idea of a carpenter's house that would be that's appropriate for the area. And it's a small amount. I think we're talking less than 200 square feet of actual board and batten area within the entire structure that would be visible from the road. So it's just the small details. I mean, you guys understand that.
I don't even know if it'd be 200 square feet total, Mr. Case, but somewhere between 160 and 200 square feet total on the entire house, by the way. I don't know if you'll see it all. Yeah.
So even less that would be visible from the street.
Okay. And let's move on back to item number 3, a standing seam metal roof to be applied over the front porch, below the front gable, and on top of the garage dormer, and the balance of the roof to remain the asphalt shingles. And again, I'm wondering if, we did discuss this in the past, and I'm wondering why you're bringing it to us again.
Yeah, so this is another design issue that the Foleys really want this particular look. They do think it's in keeping with other elements in the Historic Society. In fact, one of the applicants that was just on before, they have a metal roof in these almost exact same instances above the gable and above their little porch there. And those were approved by the commission in June, and they were just back before you with the complete house. And I've driven by; it's beautiful, and they're looking at that same kind of look. And I think if you look at the handbook, your guidance when it talks about new construction, it talks about incorporating elements from all eras, that you were not locked in a particular era when we designed the house. And this is in keeping with the idea of this farmhouse, of what my architect cousin would call carpenter's Gothic, that they would mix elements together to end up with a result that is pleasing to the eye, and brings in these architectural details. It's not an entire roof they're looking for, just these little elements to bring some intrigue and design interest to the house. And it fits in keeping with the way the house presents itself to the street.
A quick question. You were referring to the Madison's roof. You're referring to the copper roof that they have, correct? Because they do not have the metal roof that you are looking at.
Standing seam metal roof. It just happens to be made out of copper as opposed to what the Foleys want. It's still a metal roof, and if you look at the minutes, your minutes say metal roof. It's not a copper roof per se. It's not. So this is in keeping with what's also already been approved by the commission, just down the street.
For the record, I would like to clarify that application, the Madison's house, only has the standing seam copper roof in one place, and that is on the porch. It is not in any other location on that house.
All right, so they're looking for a similar look, but they want to add that element in on the gable, on the top of the gable, a couple of window gables, and then also on the front entryway.
Okay, thank you for those comments. I do want to
add about that, Tara. I know Tara feels strongly about the roof, so I want to make sure she.
No, I was just gonna say that we are looking just for the metal, on the front porch in front.
Not on the gables, because
well, on the gables too, but the majority of it will be on the
front porch, and also to carry that element up to the gables.
If I may, Marguerite, it's Mark O'Neill. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Brown, can you do me a favor? I drove by that. That's not like the copper from years ago. Won't that patina turn like a brownish black, sir?
Yes, the copper today will not patina as it did years ago because of the pollutants in the air. It will turn like a brown color. And it will take quite a long time, if we ever see it, turn into a patina color copper, the way you would see an older building.
Yeah, in fact, I'm sorry. In fact, there's been a lot of controversy now in other areas. I know in Chicago, especially in the historic district in Chicago, where they're quite disappointed that they wanted it to have that copper, patina of old, and it's not. It's actually turning more of a brownish bronze black. And I I don't know exact color. Tara, I'm not sure what color you're thinking of. I would imagine you're probably going to go with a black standing seam roof, which I think you'll see in 3 to 6 years. The one up the street will probably look exactly the same or pretty close from the street. I just wanted to put that in, Marguerite, just so you'll know that the copper roofs today are because of the pollutants. It's really crazy. It's not like the old days. How's that?
Indeed.
Well, I just think the commission about the quality of the building and the spacing, and that, you're supposed to look into architectural style and the details of embellishment, specifically roof materials, as part of the way your handbooks identifies for new construction. This is a nice element, actually, that breaks up the monotony of just the shingles, the asphalt shingles. It's an inexpensive upgrade, frankly, and I think it actually adds a lot of uniqueness to the design and the way it'll look on the lot.
I just want to make a comment about the idea of precedent in a historic district. So, for example, pointing out that board and batten siding is used on an outbuilding on one building doesn't mean that it is necessarily appropriate on another building or another new building. So when we are considering all of these design features, we are looking at your unique building and as a whole, and as it fits into its place in the district. So just wanted to put that out there. That
a good point. I think the example is to show you how it looks. I mean, this obviously is going to be a unique house that is going to fit into the district because of the characters it has. I mean, it's a farmhouse, mm-hmm. barn characteristics.
Right. So when we make these, when we consider these applications, the discussion that we have and the decisions that we made are not arbitrary. They are all guided by the Secretary of the Interior standards for the, for the treatment of historic properties, and in this case, as it applies to new construction within a historic district.
Correct.
So that is what we will be guiding our discussion tonight, is the Secretary of the Interior standards.
That's fine. I mean, I think your handbook lays it out pretty nicely. I think that the handbook kind of sets it up pretty nicely about that. And I think we're completely in keeping the quality of the materials and the quality of the builder that's been retained to do this, and the quality of the Foleys, frankly, to build this kind of unique but beautiful house that's really going to fit in nicely with the houses on, the barn right around the corner that'll fit right in and fit into the district.
And for all the commission members,
it's a little different when you have new construction, so your job is a little different as opposed to retrofitting an air conditioning unit on a house that was built in the 17 whatever. This is a completely different, but I think if you look at your governing documents that you want to incorporate modern elements, that these are places where people live and work, and that you want a quality, a style, and it's in this plan.
And for all the commission members, again, it's Mark O'Neill. This house was designed by an award-winning historic architect out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Wendy Welton. And if you look at the design, she incorporated the board and batten design over that and did the standing seam roof also as the architectural elements, in keeping this particular house, not this exact house. This was custom designed for the Foleys, but a similar one is built in the historic district right outside of Portsmouth in Strawberry Bank. And you'll see that those architectural elements are included. And Wendy did this because she believes, much like Mr. Case said, that these architectural elements really define the house. And I believe that's what Tara and Conrad wanted. So I think for new construction especially, we have the ability to add these architectural elements that really make a house very unique and have it blend old with new. And so I think, I feel very strongly that I suggest that the commission take a good look again at the elevations that we provided. It's a real nice look, and it breaks up the monotony of, you know, a basic colonial home, if you will.
Thank you for those remarks. Heather?
I just had a quick question. With the standing seam that you're looking at, would it be shinier look or a matte finish? What was the finish that you're looking at for that?
I think it's a matte finish, but I can defer to Mark or to Tara on that.
Yeah, it would be Ted can chime in, but we're looking at a matte finish, so no shine to it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question for clarification? You know, you've thrown out a couple architectural styles in this conversation, both Carpenter Gothic and farmhouse. Those are actually very separate and distinct styles with very separate and distinct characteristics. And one would, and a decision, you know, what one is going for would drive a decision here. So I guess I'm struggling with what the intent is, because what we don't want, in my opinion, is a house that combines various styles. That is actually something that does not meet the standards. It creates what we call a false historic appearance. And that is something that we really try to avoid in administering and making decisions around projects and whether they meet the standards. So, so I think it's really important for us to understand what the design intent is here for us to be able to make decisions that are best for the house.
The design intent is captured rather in the plans that you see before you. There's actual pictures of the house, that what's going to be built. So it's, to me, it's fairly clear, you know, and if I'm using incorrect terms, that's just because, you know, I'm not an architect. So I'm trying to, you know, you get the feel for the house because you actually can see it. There's pictures and what's been presented to you of what the house is. So if I'm calling it a farmhouse or something like that, and it is this house, that's I think on page 6 or 7 of what we submitted. You know, so an architect.
So I would, yeah, sure. So I would say, based on the drawings that you've proposed, that what you have here, when you consider the wraparound porch and the gabling and the window placement, it looks more like a farmhouse than anything else. And I would go out on a limb, not a very far limb, and say that board and batten trim and siding in gables is not historically appropriate for a farmhouse style.
Yeah, but your enabling statute actually identifies this, that virtually all districts contain a blend of styles from previous decades and centuries, and this process should be to tastefully continue to include styles from the 1990s into the next century. So I think when people built houses in the 1800s, they were using design elements from the 1700s, and in the 1900s, they're using design elements from the 1700s and the 1800s. I mean, that's the way humans are, and we incorporate things. And I think that's important in your enabling statute, is about as it deals to new construction, because what's not required is a 100% historically accurate house. That's not required.
Yeah, actually, I just want to speak to that. You know, when we talk about different styles within districts, we don't mean within one building necessarily. We mean within the whole district.
Yeah, but this house is.
And if I could just finish, and what's important to changes to individual buildings over time is that they are recognized architectural styles that add significance to a building that is already historic. This building is not historic. So this is a new construction. So I do think when we evaluate new construction, style and intent, and not creating a hodgepodge of styles within one construction, I think there's value to that as we look at a cohesive and a district that we can evaluate change over time. That's what I think about that. And I think to that end, batten siding in the gables is not an appropriate treatment. I would, we could perhaps have a discussion about shingle siding if you were clapboarding the first floors and had shingles in the clapboards, or I'm sorry, in the gables. That might be a discussion that has a precedent, that has a language to that style that you're trying to achieve. But
okay, but
that's debatable too.
But this is the Foley's house, and they would like the look. And I think when they say farmhouse, that's a farm being the operative word there, and that has a lot of barn elements. And the fact that the board and batten is just to break up the gable areas in a way that's in keeping with a farmhouse. And you'll see that in other instances. That house that they sent in is, yes, it's an outbuilding, but it's actually a residence. There's an apartment, a building in there. There's so people do live in buildings that have board and batten siding. It's not an unusual type of siding to have.
Understood. Right. Right. Sure.
And it's also historically accurate. That's old school.
Just because it exists in history doesn't mean that it's historically accurate for a particular style.
Julie, before we invite comments from other commissioners, did you have questions or comments on the 3 areas for a metal roof? Which, excuse me for interrupting, but just so everybody's clear, this was an element that was introduced back in December and which was not approved by the commission.
Right. And I think, I stand by that decision, and I would agree, I would continue with that decision. So I'm
confused why that would be okay at the,
excuse me, please let the commissioner finish her comments.
I'm sorry.
I was pretty much done. I don't feel like we need to re-adjudicate this conversation. It was presented, it was denied. We had reasons for denying it that were within our guidelines, and I don't feel like we need to talk about it again. But that's okay.
Just so I can point out that the reason after the denial, we learned that it had been approved, a very similar application had been approved for the Madisons down the road. That actually made the Foleys think, well, that's something and a design element that's very important to them in this process. So that's why it came back before you.
I can understand that from the applicant's point of view. I really can. And yet the 2 houses and the applications and the roofing itself are really quite different. And so we had our reasons for approving it for the Madison's house, and we had our reasons for not approving it for this house. A natural copper roof is one thing. A metal roof with a black finish is quite another, and does have a different look altogether. Also, the fact that your application has 3 areas as opposed to just 1. Again, it's a different application, different look altogether. Hence the different decision.
Yeah, I can understand that there's some slightly more metal here, but they're both metal. I think you're drawing a distinction because you did approve a metal roof in that appliation, and it's a
different kind of metal.
Yeah, but
it's a different application.
Yeah, I understand that, but you should weigh them the same, and it does fit. It is in keeping with a farmhouse. Lots of. Well, the house in Portsmouth that this architect designed has these elements. So there's some good examples of this look.
Yes, I'm sure that is the case. In fact, there is a house on my own street, very similar to the applicant's house, that has the metal roof, very, very, very similar. But we can only consider what is within our district and what is appropriate to build as new construction in our district.
Well, but it could be considered to be a little arbitrary if you decide it's okay on one and not another.
We've just explained to you why it's different. It's a different building. It's a different building style. It's a different amount, a different placement. It is actually very different. So going back to your point about treating everybody the same, we are treating everybody the same. Everybody has the opportunity to come before this commission and present to us their application. Everybody gets an opportunity to speak. Public gets an opportunity to speak. We all get an opportunity to weigh a decision. Not every decision not every decision we make creates precedent. Every application is different, and every project is different. So this is different. These are very different situations. And Marguerite's right. It was the work on the Madison's house was very different. It was less. It was copper, and it was just a different approach to the building itself.
Would other commissioners like to make comments or ask questions? Do all of the commissioners feel that we have enough information to vote on a motion before we close the public hearing?
Mark,
Marguerite, I don't know if it's, I'm sorry, you were kind of breaking up. I don't know if it's on my end or was anybody else having that problem?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me repeat. I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to ask, do the commissioners have additional questions for the applicant? Or wish to make, yes.
I do not know, but I was listening very carefully to both you and Julie, and I agree with both of your comments, and I support you.
Thank you. Heather or Diane, do you have additional questions?
No additional questions.
Or comments?
No, I think Julie's explanation was very clear and succinct about the difference between applications and the types of buildings that we're talking about. So thank you. I think that really sums it up, explains it.
Okay. And Heather, do you have any questions or comments before we close the public hearing?
I do not.
I'm sorry, Heather, I didn't catch that.
No questions.
Okay. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak about the application? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing now so that we can discuss the application.
I'm sorry, can I just make one quick comment? This is Ted Brown, and I think they've designed a beautiful home.
Ted, the public hearing is closed. You cannot speak. You have to mute yourself.
I was muted. I'm sorry. I tried to get it in before.
Thank you. All right, Marguerite, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, Mike. All right, so I'll make my observations about the various elements and invite comment from and discussion from the other commissioners. I have absolutely no problem with changing garage door color or the front door or the change to the door design with no transom. I don't see a problem with that. The windows changing to a 2/2 instead of a 6/6, I actually think is a positive change. I think it's very appropriate for the simpler look for the building. I do not have any issue with changing the porch decking. As you can gather from my comments, I do have significant concerns with changing the gable material. I feel like the approved shingle style siding was very appropriate for a farm style building. And I personally feel that it helps to break up the surface, add visual interest, but is very appropriate for the farmhouse design. Similarly with the metal roof, as proposed, I do not feel that it meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for new construction within a historic district. So I would not approve that change. Other commissioners?
I agree with that evaluation.
Second it, I agree as well.
Yeah, I think it is, Ted, to your comment, it is a lovely house. But I think Marguerite is right in her comments. I have to agree with her. But all in all, it's a great house. No problems with it's actually what we had originally approved, and the changes are great too. That Marguerite has indicated where there are no changes, no problem with the changes.
Heather, did you want to add anything?
No, I agree. It's a very beautiful home. It's going to be. I think it's really pretty. I like the changes, the doors. So I think that that sounds good.
Okay. Any further discussion before I put a motion together? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody, so, all right. And somebody please keep me honest as I craft this motion, because there's a lot of moving parts here. So I'm going to make a motion to approve a certificate of appropriateness for modification for this proposed residence, including changes to the garage and front door color. And I would also note to the change in front door design, that is that it will no longer have a transom. Also approving the change of the window design from a 6/6 pattern to a 2/2 pattern, a change in the porch decking. I will also note that the foundation height is not changing, and so it will remain approved as it previously was. The proposed change to board and batten siding located in the front and side gables is not approved, so would remain the shingles style that was previously approved. The installation of the seamed metal roof over the front porch and the other two locations is also not approved and will remain asphalt shingle. Did I cover everything? Mike, is there any detail that is outstanding?
No, you did a great job.
Okay. So any other changes are not approved if they are not explicitly stated in this motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I'll do a roll call. Diane?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Heather?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Aye for me as well. So that passes unanimously, 5-0. Okay, I'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the July 9th, 2020 regular meeting. I did not have any comments on the meeting minutes. To any other commissioners?
Looked good to me.
Diane, Heather, Peter, any comments or edits to the meeting minutes?
Nope.
All right.
Move to approve.
All right. Sounds good. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Diane?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Heather?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
An aye for me as well. So they are approved unanimously.
Before we adjourn, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Could we put on next meeting's agenda some new business items where maybe we could talk about expanding the role of the commission, maybe getting some grant funding to do some more survey work, or identifying potential new districts, or maybe some educational work through a grant, interpretation, something, can we put that under new business and have a conversation about doing that?
I think that's a great idea.
Just as general commission business?
Yeah.
And that way it could be a running item on the agendas?
There is usually, but there's not today. So I didn't know if I had a floor to talk about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have a limited time today because I have a planning commission meeting starting at 7. So I didn't want to leave anything unfinished. Like, I'd like to give you an update about the handbook. However,
yeah. So if we could do that for next meeting, I'd appreciate it.
I will.
Thank you.
Can I just make a note that there is some information on the handbook that is in Dropbox that you can all take a look at and think over, and perhaps we can get a discussion going to keep our consultant moving forward next meeting.
Yeah, I looked at it in anticipation of last week's meeting, and I really liked the design of it. I thought they had a nice design going, but I didn't look too closely in terms of content and stuff.
So the content, don't look at the content. It's just fillers right now. Really, it's structure, yeah. And the other is the outline. Look at the outline in detail. That's the one I really want to hear feedback from.
Okay.
Okay, folks. Well, thank you so much for all being available for this special meeting.
Can I ask one more question of Mike very quickly about the signs, about repainting signs? I know we talked about it at the beginning of COVID because we thought it was a good time. Is that something that you can tickle?
Yes, I will. I'll ask DPW to get on it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other points we want to make? Let's see, did we lost our audience? I guess we have. All right. So I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right. Thanks. Have a great evening, everybody.